Are there like lines on my face? Oh my goodness. I literally can't tell. I just woke up from the craziest nap.
Okay, let's try this.
I even sound like I just woke up. Hi, my name is Jamila and I don't normally sound like this. I'm really excited about today's video. I want to quickly explain it because I honestly have no idea what I titled it. I was inspired by my friend's boyfriend who gifted her an embosser, and then I realized like all these different Etsy shops sell them and I got one. Today what we're going to do is I'm going to go through my library and emboss my books. While I emboss my books, I'm going to talk about why I like this book to the point where I'm holding on to it, and we're gonna just chit chat a little bit. Let me explain my process. One thing I don't understand and I've never quite understood is people who are a part of like the bookish community on the internet that hold on to books that they like DNF'd or that they gave like 2 stars, like they're not gonna really ever read again. And I think I saw a quote somewhere that was like, books are memories, not physical possessions, or da-da-da. And like, okay, cute. But for me, if I'm not going to utilize something again, or it's just gonna sit there and take up space, like I don't want it in my home. This stack of books right here, all of these books are gonna go to McKay's. First things first though, I wanted to open my embosser. You know what's gonna be really sad is if I think this is my embosser and it's my Schitt's Creek mouse pad. We have more bubble wrap, okay. Oh. Shut. Oh, it's gonna be so cute. Oh my goodness, wait, this is the bag. Wait, time. Shut the front door. Shut the front door. Oh, do I have to build it? Did this just become a different video? Probably. Okay, so we have the thing. We have instructions. And here's the thing. Here's my little thing. Okay, let's put her together. Pinch and pull the embossing machine. Wait, hold on. How am I already like messed up? Okay, wait, why does it look? Wait, is it this way? Align the embossing machine. Like I know we get in there somehow. Align the embossing machine core groove with the handle protrusion as shown, but girl, I can't see. Okay, this is here. Am I like overthinking something that's super simple? If I am, this is not a surprise. I'm geeking. Oh, I'm zooming in. From the library of Jamila R. Shut the front door. I'm so excited. Let's get into my library. Quick disclaimer, if you're someone that's like, ooh, poor lighting, my office doesn't have like, okay, I can't say it doesn't have a window because that's technically a lie. It just doesn't have natural lighting. The window literally goes to the hallway that leads outside of this apartment. And I don't use the overhead lighting in my office. My office is strictly cozy vibes. So it's a little bit different as opposed to the lighting that you have right here. If that bothers you and you're not interested, ain't nobody making you stay, girl. That was weird. This was such a good investment. To my friend's boyfriend, I see why you did this. Okay, let's get into my office. Welcome to bookshelf 1 of 2 in my office. My office is where my little library is. And I do have an apartment tour coming as far as just the way I have things set up. I actually have an apartment decorating video coming. But I keep forgetting that I have that in the works. I'm not gonna hold you, but she's done. We have 2 shelves here. However, this bottom shelf right here is actually bookshelf 1 of 2 with actually 1 of 3 of my TBR. So these are all books that I wanna read, and they're all fiction books that I wanna read. And I'm definitely not going to emboss them, especially if I end up not liking them. However, these books up here are the books that I'm going to be embossing and kind of just going through. It's why it says love right here because I love these books. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I mean, I know it's a popular book, but I have to. Like, I have to do it. This book was so freaking amazing, and considering I don't like any other Christina Lauren book, like, I was like, oh yeah, let me hold on to this one. Next up, we have Funny Shit Asked by either Eliza or Alyssa Sussman. We all know I can't say this woman's first name. However, this book is so freaking amazing. I actually think about it so much that I want to go get her other book that she's written. I think it's called Once More with Feeling. I'm scared that it's not going to live up to what Funny You Should Ask is, but man, I want to do it so bad. I'm so obsessed with this. All right, next up, we have 180 Seconds by Jessica Park. This is a book that I have loved since I was in high school, which is all the more reason that it's definitely on my reread list for 2025. Starting next year, there are some books that I want to go back and reread to make sure that I actually like them. And 180 Seconds is definitely one of them because I rave about it and I keep saying that I love it, but I don't remember exactly why I love it. I know the basis of it is basically staring into someone's eyes for 180 seconds for a YouTube challenge, and then this like falling in love journey begins, but I don't really remember their journey. So I need to reread it so I can remember. All right, next up we have This Is Major, Notes on Diana Ross, Dark Girls, and Being Dope by Shayla Lawson. This book is that girl. This is a nonfiction book for all my nonfiction people, and it is so freaking amazing. Honestly, this is a book that I want to reread it, but like, look at the edges. Okay, because the edges are very like bent from me bending this bar and reading it the first time. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to read it again. And then it gets like messed up even more. This is one of those books that I really should have in hardcover, but I don't. But it's so good, especially if you just love reading about like different things involving Black culture and just you want to learn. Shayla Lawson, she's that girl. Obviously we have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I've talked about this book so much on this channel that I'm not even gonna bore you today. Just know she's up there. Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. Oh my goodness, so good. I cried. I don't even know what else to say. Besides, like, this book is just so freaking amazing. And if you're into memoirs and learning about people's lives, this book was a book that had a lot of hype initially when, I don't know if necessarily when it came out, but there was a period of time when it had a lot of hype, and it's worth the freaking hype. Everyone who's saying good things about this book, they're correct. It's not your typical memoir where she like brags about her wealth. Like, this is actually super, super good. And it just makes you think, it makes you appreciate people. It makes you want to fix relationships in your lives with people in your family that might not be the best. It's that good of a book. It's so amazing. Next book we have is The Book of Moods by Lauren Martin. This is another nonfiction book. It says How I Turn My Worst Emotions into My Best Life. I actually have things like underlined in here. If a book is this like absolutely amazing, I'm going to like write in it and underline it. As far as nonfiction books, I'm not one of the girlies who like tabs and highlights and draws little hearts in like the fiction books. I can't do that. But if it's a nonfiction book and I'm learning, I'm writing in it because I love learning. Life produces its best moments in times of inconvenience. I think I read this book to just kind of try to understand like, I don't know, my anxiety and depression, and this is before I got like diagnosed, and it really did help with certain areas in ways I didn't anticipate for it to help. So if you just want to learn about moods, and honestly this is very woman-centered, if you want to learn about being a woman and our hormones and how that kind of affects our emotions, I definitely recommend this book. Then we have My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. Such a tiny powerhouse of a book. This is another one that had a lot of hype and energy, but for very good reason. If you haven't checked this out, it's amazing. It's a nonfiction book. It's a collection of essays all pertaining to her body, but also just things that have happened in her life. Next up, we have Big Friendship, How We Keep Each Other Close by Amina Toussaint and Anne Friedman. I can't remember if they have like, oh yeah, it says it right on the front, host of the podcast Call Your Girlfriend. They have a podcast together. This book was such a really, really good book for learning about friendship. And I don't know if I've become a better or worse friend I don't know if I've become a better or worse friend because of this book, but I do know it's definitely altered the way that I go about just various friendships, especially as you get older and become an adult. Next up, we have my style book, LOL No. This is actually just from when I was a teacher. I need to give that to the new interior design teacher. Next up, we have I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennifer McCurdy. We all know about this book. I'm not even gonna like really say much. It's just such a good memoir. It's a good collection of just stories. It's honestly inspired me for when I may or may not write my own. Like, it's just so good and it takes you on an emotional roller coaster. Next up, we have The Silent Patient by Alex, still can't say his last name. I recently realized like this book had a lot of hype on BookTok, but this book also has a lot of haters on BookTok, which I thought was very interesting. So I don't know what's up, but I know what I like, and I liked this book, and I guess that's what matters. Next up, we have Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. I remember reading this book and loving it, and the reason that I'm holding on to this is a book that I probably won't read again because look at her, she's a thick one, but it was such a good, I don't even know if I'm gonna assume it's a YA book, but it was so good that I want my future kids to read it. Honestly, part of the reason why I do want to get this to my kid, I've never talked about this. So, surprise, I learned in my family a few years ago that I'm a carrier of the sickle cell like gene, which is so interesting, kind of scary. But I think, you know, depending on how things go with just my future and children, however that leads, I think having this book for him or her to read, or them, this will be a good conversation starter for us to have because I do carry that gene. All right, another book that is just so good, such a good YA book is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. Oh my goodness. People who have watched the movie and not read the book, you're dirty. I read this book in college and I cried when I finished it, and then I cried for like 2 days after finishing it. Like, I was not well. We have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I'm gonna go ahead and break people's feelings, hurt people's hearts. Basically, I think that this is my favorite one out of the Knockabout series. All right, next up we have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This is a book that when I initially was reading it, it was a slow start. I'm not gonna hold you. Then halfway through it picked up and I was like, wait a minute, I can't put it down. It is a romance, just like Things We Never Got Over, but it's a good romance. It's a good summer romance. And I will not read Carly Fortune's other books, especially Meet Me at the Lake, because I've heard that it's very, very similar to this one. We have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I loved this book. This was a recent read of mine, and I don't really think I talked about it. It's so freaking amazing. And I actually just recently got Terms and Conditions. I don't know if you watched the last video, but it was like this giant book haul from books that I bought over the summer. And I can't wait to get into Terms and Conditions. And honestly, I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna read the last book in the series, which I believe is Final Offer. All right, and then this is my second bookshelf. This is a little bit brighter because the door to my office is open and the like natural lighting is like whoosh, I guess. But this is the other set of my TBR right down here. These are all of my nonfiction books that I hope to read. This shelf is just a continuation of the other shelf over there. I just was running out of room on that shelf and I continued it over into this one. All right, then we have Tell Me Three Things by Julie Buxbaum. This was a good YA book. I honestly though, I'm not gonna hold you. Time to get rid of her. We have Finding Me by Viola Davis. Such a fantastic memoir. Oh my goodness, this is like something that stays with you. Yes, it's her story, and yes, she talks about being an actress, but it is so much more than about her being an actress. It really is about finding oneself and falling in love with oneself and that journey, what that looks like. And there's one thing I like about this book when it comes to that is that there's no like, this is the end. I love myself so much now and we're never gonna fall out of love. Like, no, this is very much so a work in progress. Viola Davis is like still alive. This is something that she's always going to continue to work on and improve. Is it better now than it was when she was a kid? Yeah, but it's still just like, it's something that, you know, she's gonna have to continuously work on and like finding her worth and feeling worthy of all of the good things happening to her. Such a fantastic memoir. Oh my goodness. Another really, really great book is 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. I took the book jacket off because it was pissing me off. I'm not gonna hold you. Also, I just like the fact that it just says love right here. Like, I think this looks so much better in my opinion. Then we have Dear Martin by Nick Stone. Such a good book. Oh my goodness. It is a like kind of social justice fiction book and it's fan freaking tastic. I have Jackpot by Nick Stone that I really, really need to read. All right, next up, I can't say it out loud. In case you ever want to learn about the word, this is the book for that. It just teaches you, it's honestly just an in-depth look into the history of this word, how it's been manipulated for different reasons, more so the benefit of white people. All right, last book that's up here, because the other book is a bucket list notebook, this is Unfinished by Priyanka Chopra Jonas. I remember reading this and being like, I'm never gonna read this memoir. I love it so much. Da, 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 da. And it's not that I don't love it, and I'm happy that I read it. However, I even have like pages dog-eared. I just, I don't see myself reading this again. All right. Now I'm on the ground. Not sure. But basically on the ground, I have 2 different bookshelves. Whenever I have more than one book by a writer that I like, they get moved to these bookshelves down here. I have The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith, and then its sequel, The Way I Am Now by Amber Smith. I read both of these this year. I read them both in 24 hours. Like, I read one in 24 hours, and then I was like, okay, give me the sequel. And then I read the sequel in 24 hours. And it's such a good book. It's kind of sad. No, it's not even kind of, it's fully sad. The Way I Used to Be is definitely more sad than the sequel. This is about a woman who experienced something. Then we get into our Allie Hazelwood books. I have an obsession, a deep love with Love Theoretically. I also really like Loathe to Love You. It's a collection of like novellas that are similar to the Love Theoretically, Love Hypothesis type STEM romances. And I like that these are all super easy to read. I think they're no more than 11 chapters and they're easy to knock out in a day if you divide it up, but I like that I have all 3 books in one. Then we have our, it's upside down, but it's Emily Henry. First we have Beach Read, the OG, the #1. I can't get rid of her. January and Gus have a special place in my like brain cells, my wavelength, my arteries, like all of it. Fave. Period. Fave. So I held on to Happy Place because I love, again, Emily Henry's writing is just unmatched. It's phenomenal. And I liked Happy Place. I love Win more than anything. I love Win and I love Harriet. I think it's beautifully written. I love the portrayal of friendship and adult friendships and how they change and evolve and things happen as you get older. I love that about this book. However, I don't think I'm actually gonna ever like touch, not counting right now, I don't think that I'm gonna touch Happy Place ever again. You know what I will reread though? Funny story. Miles, love him. Love him. This is so good. Him and Daphne's story is like my favorite thing ever. She did her big one with this one. All right, and then we get into our Stephanie Perkins moment. So I have Anna and the French Kiss, I have Lola and the Boy Next Door, and I have Isla and the Happily Ever After. I read all of these when I was younger, and honestly, even though they are like YA books, I could reread them again right now. There's 2 reasons I'm holding on to them. One, my friend didn't realize that this was a series. She thought that it was just Anna and the French Kiss, and then I told her about Lola and Isla, and now she wants to read their books. So I'm keeping them so that way she can read them, but I'm also keeping them because if I do have a little girl running around, I would be happy for her to read these. I'm not gonna hold you. All right, and the last author that we have down here is Miss Nicola Yoon. We have Everything Everything. I love the both. I love the movie, I love the book, amazing. We have The Sun is also a star, which is freaking fantastic. Love the movie as well. Yara Shahidi, beautiful. And then we have Instructions for Dancing, her most recent YA release. She did come out with like kind of a adult, I think it might be her first adult book. I could be wrong on that, but it's kind of a thriller. She came out with that over the summer. I haven't read it, but I can't wait to read it. This though was her most recent like YA book, and it's so freaking amazing. All right, so the last section of books is cookbooks. So I want to go through these because I do have some cookbooks that I flipped through and I realized I actually like am never gonna use it. First cookbook I have that I'm totally gonna emboss is Snoop Dogg's cookbook, From Crook to Cook. It's fantastic. I actually have tried like, anyway, I have actually tried recipes from this cookbook, and I can say that certifiably Snoop Dogg knows what he's doing. Next book, I just showed this in my haul video, so I'm not gonna get rid of it. And I do know recipes in here that I'm so excited and ready to try, but it is the Quick Fix by Tia Mori. All right, the next cookbook that we have is Big Little Recipes. Now this is a cookbook that I am going to get rid of. I was excited about it because it's recipes that don't require a lot of ingredients. However, they're like the fancy ingredients that cost too much at the grocery store, and the reason they don't require like a lot is because the ingredients are like super seasoned as is, or like rare, or whatever the case may be. But this is a cookbook that I'm not gonna use this. We also have Cravings by Chrissy Teigen. This is a cookbook by a celebrity that I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. And then I realized like, no, I can't do any of it. The Full Plate by Miss Aisha Curry. She looks absolutely beautiful. We are 100% keeping this and holding on to it. We have Tasty, the ultimate like cookbook, how to cook basically anything. It's very much so a cookbook full of just like cooking basics as far as recipes go. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. So I'm 100% holding on to this one. Annual Recipes 2006 by Cooking Light. This was honestly a panic purchase. I went to a book event. I felt like I had to buy a book because I had wandered around so long and I was being racially profiled. But I am not actually going to use this. It is 2024. There are different ingredients and different things just kind of coming up as far as like recipes and things go. It's kind of weird saying they're different ingredients, but we all know everything's being genetically modified. So anywho. All right, just to end this video and quickly recap, these are the books that I am saying goodbye to. Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Buxbaum. Pilgrim at Tinker Creek by Annie Dillard. Unfinished by Priyanka Chopra Jonas. Happy Place by Emily Henry. Cooking Light Annual Recipes 2006. Cravings Altogether by Chrissy Teigen. And Big Little Recipes. If you stayed until this point in the video, you are absolutely insane, but I love you for it. If you are interested in like your own embosser, I will have this Etsy shop linked below. It got here so fast. Like Etsy still hasn't processed that I have it. Worth the investment, man. And I don't really have anything else to say. I'm still not good at closing out videos. I hope, I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself. And I will see you in the next one.